What's up guys, this is Zach here bringing you all a first impressions video for Star Wars The Old Republic Galactic Starfighter, the latest downloadable expansion for BioWare's controversial MMORPG. The game is currently available for all subscribers as a free content update, but with a free-to-play launch coming this February, retailing for $20 on the cartel market. You know, sometimes you play a game and you just realize it's not for you. Objectively speaking, it may be fine, especially for those who like this kind of thing, but for whatever reason, you just don't enjoy playing it. And it's not as if this update hasn't received its fair share of hype, because it certainly has. Dubbed the Secret Space Project during development, Galactic Starfighter is BioWare's response to all the critics who blasted the Old Republic's initial lack of freeform spaceflight. I find this to be an apt comparison for Galactic Starfighter. Galactic Starfighter offers real-time ship combat in the vein of Star Wars Rogue Squadron, and in the form of instance multiplayer battles. Maps are quite limited. There are only 2, and only one game type. Domination, the only game type currently available, is Republic vs. Sith, and has you flying around regaining control points. It's essentially the Old Republic's Alderaan PvP in space. Star Wars The Old Republic has always been graphically solid, especially the space combat, and the 2 zones that are available are no exception. The environments are nice and the ship models are detailed. The problem is that it's an absolute shame that there's only 2 maps and 1 game type available for a retail product. The game is Twitch-based, but it doesn't always feel as such. Your throttle is controlled by the keyboard and movement is controlled by the mouse. Aiming is also controlled by the mouse, meaning there's often a delay between moving your mouse and moving on the screen, as the cursor has to move enough to register movement from a location, rather than just relocating the mouse cursor for aiming purposes. It can feel a bit sluggish at times. Also, it seems awfully hard to hit other players, and yes, I am aiming at the little box that's above their ship. Players are hitting me and each other, so it is possible. It's just not nearly as intuitive as it should be. It feels like there's a lot more of a learning curve involved with this game than is really warranted. There's quite a wide variety of ships available for purchase, and plenty of options for ship customization. Completing battles nets you ship requisitions and fleet requisitions. Save up enough ship requisitions and you can buy a brand new ship. Unfortunately, a lot of the ships are purchased through the cartel market. Ship requisitions are used to purchase ship components like weapons, shields, and engines that all have various stat boosts. Cosmetic customization comes in paint jobs. You can choose from a set of decals and the color for each decal, though much of that is also locked via the cartel market. Like Star Trek Online, the Old Republic allows you to select a crew for your ship, including a co-pilot, offensive and defensive crewmen, tactical, and engineering. These offer various passive and active buffs. All in all, this does make for a decent free update, but I don't know if I necessarily want to pay for it. It's unfortunate that it's PvP only. The expansion doesn't really offer anything for players who don't enjoy PvP combat, and it doesn't mesh with the ground game enough to make it worthwhile for the players that don't. PvE missions, either solo or group-based, would have been nice to see and somewhat unique for this type of game. Also, 2 maps and 1 game mode is too bare bones for a retail product. It's clear to see that BioWare has big plans for Galactic Starfighter, but in its current state it just feels like an alpha test, nowhere near fleshed out enough to make it a can't-miss update. Rise of the Hutt Cartel, Star Wars The Old Republic's previous downloadable expansion, was an integral update for the game, adding 5 new levels of PvP progression as well as new operations and flashpoints. Galactic Starfighter almost feels completely optional. Maybe this time next year BioWare will have had its time to flesh out the experience a bit more, adding game modes and maps, but until then I just can't recommend it. In its current state, I'd really advise people to stay away. If you have to get your multiplayer space combat fix, check out Star Conflict, as it's a far better game than the current state of Galactic Starfighter. Though, if you'd like to learn more about Galactic Starfighter, head on over to the game's official website. Otherwise, head on over to MMOattack.com for more MMO gaming news, reviews, and giveaways.